Hello, good evening. I am Melissa Mann, and it is Tuesday night, and I think I'm relatively on time for once, maybe kind of, sort of, a couple minutes late. Not too bad. So I am aware that I look a little tired tonight as I'm sitting on here looking here at my camera mirror. And that just is what it is, right? It's been a 2-day hypnosis training is what I've spent the last couple days doing, which brought some interesting insights out that I thought I would share with you this evening. I had some other ideas. I want to talk about relationships and things tonight, and I don't think that's going to happen as much as I would like to. It's just not where my head's at right now. So I'm thinking that might be next week's topic. So hang in there for that. Unless we're all dying to hear about relationships, in which case I could do another live before that. Let me know. Sorry, I'm knocking my tripod. I tell you, I'm tired. It's been like a long couple days. But what I want to talk to you about, I guess relating to that, is I want to tell you a little bit about my experience and what I learned, more so about myself probably than anything else, but how that relates to everybody else. Because I imagine a lot of you struggle with some very similar things to me. So this is a two-day hypnosis training, and I am relatively well trained in hypnosis already, but I've done a lot of kind of alternative hypnosis treatments and or classes for alternative hypnosis treatment. Does that make sense? Okay. And I felt like it would probably be wise to take like a traditional Milton Erickson is kind of like the father of hypnosis, like an Ericksonian hypnosis training, which was sort of my plan here. And I actually ran into a friend there that I wasn't expecting her to be there, who I work with, but she works at a different office than me. And she's like, I'm so surprised to see you here. Don't you have all this hypnosis training already? And I was like, well, yeah, I do. But certified in hypnosis stuff. But this is different because I felt like this was traditional. And I really wanted to sort of like make sure I had all my ducks in a row and kind of make sure I had all the information I needed. And I know a couple of weeks ago I popped on here after I had just finished doing a hypnosis session with a client, and it was really successful. And after the fact, it turned out that it was really successful. It was around like loud noises and things, and like that was before the 4th of July happened. And after that, I checked in with her, and she was like, "Yeah, no, it was great. Like it didn't bother me at all. I'm like better." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's amazing." Like you never totally know how something's gonna go until a little bit after the fact. So it was really cool for me. But anyways, so that's why I took this training was to get a little more like base. And unfortunately, I will say that I think what it really was quite basic, where it was all information for the most part I already knew. And and there were things that like I felt like the person teaching the class didn't fully understand or have I don't know how I want to explain that, but there were things that like I felt like I could have explained better, which I really realized sounds sort of arrogant and cocky and all the things that I don't really want to sound like, but there was some truth in that, and I was kind of like, okay. And so we broke out into groups and things. This was yesterday, and I modified some of what we were doing to make it work better, and it did, which was gratifying and frustrating because this is, of course, I paid for, right? So that was, a lot of different things. And so today I was really expecting it to be better because I was like, okay, well, the first day is going to be all like, base information stuff, and day 2, that'll be better. Not really. So, I don't know exactly what happened there, but what I will say is I would say it's maybe partially the professor's fault and partially everybody else's fault. And that was one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about here. So before I totally get to that, I will say that, the one thing that was valuable was that I learned that I knew so much more than I knew that I knew. And I wonder how many times some of you find yourselves in the same situation where we doubt ourselves and we keep seeking more information and reading more books and going to more trainings and wanting more and more and more in some sense of self-doubt, or not feeling as though we already have the information that we need or that we are enough already. Hi, Zach. I see a few people on there. Hi, Cheryl and Mandy. But I wonder how much of that other people are experiencing, of sort of a sense of wanting to go out into the world and make sure you have all of your ducks in a row before you're willing to call yourself an expert, or before you're willing to do the thing that you kind of know you're already ready for, but you feel like, well, I just need one more class, or I need to read one more book, or I need to have one more experience, or I need to do one more thing before I really feel ready. And obviously I'm already doing hypnosis and I've been doing it for a while, but this gave me a lot of clarity that, no, I already know this stuff, which was really cool for me. Like I said, a little frustrating, but also validating. So there was that. But the other piece that I wanted to throw out there was the thing that got in the way of this particular class was also the other students in the class. And I've been in lots of classes like this before, where you're in a room full of people, in this case it was mostly therapists, who needed the why for everything. So it was, well, this, this experience worked here, or this was a case study of this, and we want to get into these big discussions of why. Why did it work? Why didn't it work? Why would it work in this situation? Would it work with this person? I have this client. Would it work with that person? I have this person. Would it work with that person? And we end up in this cycle of everybody having all these questions about the logistics without getting any real learning in. And it was a lot of that. And that was frustrating as well, because I understand what was happening, but it was a lot of like, but I need to understand more, and I need more understanding and more understanding before I'm willing to just dive right in and do it. We had some, we broke off into partners and we did different activities and things like that. But even today, we had an opportunity to do one, and the class as a collective decided that they didn't want to do that. They wanted to skip that and spend more time discussing it. And I was going, why are we doing this? Right? Like, we're here to learn. We're here to experience and do. But people didn't want to experience and do. They wanted to discuss and figure out and try to get to the bottom line of why this works, or why it worked in this situation and not with this situation. And, could it work here? And why was the underlying message. And it's interesting for me because, having worked with Access Consciousness, one of the tools and understandings of why is that why is literally shaped like why, right? It's a fork in the road that always brings you back to the beginning, is sort of something Gary Douglas says. And what really we mean by that is, if you've ever spent much time with a 2 or 3-year-old who wants to ask why, and mommy, why? Well, why is the sky blue? Well, because of the atmosphere and the way the sun shines. But why? And you keep going and you never get to the answer, right? But as adults, we still do this, maybe in slightly less obnoxious way, though I'm not quite sure today. But how much do we still do that? Do we still want to know why? And maybe this was an academic setting of why this works, or why the brain functions in that way, or why the unconscious mind does something different and all of that. But if we set all of that aside, how many times have we been in a relationship and said, why did that person do that to me? Why did that person say that? Why did that person think that was an okay choice? How much do we get stuck in those whys? And how much is that helpful? If you spent all day with your best friend trying to figure out why somebody possibly could have done something, was it because they were abused as a child? Was it because they had this awful experience? Was it because of that? Most of the time, we don't know the why. And most of the time, it's because they don't know the why. And most of the time, there isn't actually a why. And even if we thought we got it, we thought we figured out, we cracked the code. I know that this person did that to me because this person did that to them, and they had this experience and that feeling, and then that triggered this. Do you feel better? Not usually. And we just don't. We just want to know answers so that we think we can understand, so that we can imagine why on earth somebody would choose something that we would never choose. but it doesn't get us anywhere. Just like today, I felt like this class didn't go anywhere because it was all about questions and explaining, and we didn't get to even do the trials and the experiments and the, working together kind of thing that we should have done, because everybody wanted to know why so bad. So how much did that devalue my experience? I don't know about other people's. I can't speak for them. But then do we do that in our life? Do we ask so many whys and try to understand and try to figure out that we're actually missing out on living our lives now? Because instead we're still stuck in the last relationship that didn't work out and we're still trying to figure out why? Are we still stuck on the relationship with a parent, with a sibling, with somebody else that we still feel not good enough because it's something they did or said that has stuck with us? And we're still trying to figure out why they're living their life the way they are, why they're choosing what they're choosing, and why they're not giving us the love we think we deserve from that particular person, and all these things, right? And we're not getting anywhere. And what if we just let go of all of that? What if we stop trying to figure out why and just decided that people just do what they do and things just are as they are? And now what can I choose? And now what can I do with my life differently that I didn't even know was a choice before because I was so stuck into figuring out why? And what would that be like? What reality could open up in our world that we haven't yet acknowledged because we've been so stuck in trying to figure it out? Boy, is this something I do in therapy or have done. I'm getting a lot better about it. But this is something we were trained to do. Let's look at this person's life and figure out why they do the things they do, or why they said the thing they said, or let's figure it out. It's all about figuring it out. And when we do, we're like, yeah, okay, you get angry all the time because your dad used to get angry all the time and he used to yell, and that's how you learned how to process anger. Cool. Did we solve the problem? No. Great. We know why. Cool. Do you see how we get stuck? But we haven't solved anything. We know why. Great. Okay. So now we actually have to solve the problem. And maybe that's helpful sometimes because maybe it's a stepping stone. But a lot of times it's not. There's so much that we can change and make different choices because we always have a different choice available to us without ever needing to understand or to know or to think we know, because we always just think we know. Because we'll never know what it's like to be inside somebody else's head, inside their world, why people really choose what they choose. And I just don't think that most of the time there's a real answer. So I wanted to read you something, and this is from, it's like a paragraph, not even, but from the Foundation's manual, because I was like thinking about talking about this topic, and I was like, I have something in something. So I'm sharing just this little piece with you. But it says you keep trying to understand people, thinking that if you can understand them, you'll know why they choose what they choose. I'm going to give you the ultimate in understanding. People choose what they choose because they choose what they choose, not for any good reason. And because you wouldn't choose it, you assume that they must be choosing it for some good reason. They must have been abused as children. No. They must have had a terrible life. No. They just fucking choose it. So that always helped me. Because when we get stuck in the why, I need to know why, I need to understand. No, people just do what they do. And we can let go of that because we're not choosing it. They're choosing it. And we don't have to take responsibility for what other people are choosing. Like I wrote notes. Let me see if there's anything else I want to say on all this. No, not really. I think that's kind of where I'm at tonight. But that was my experience from this hypnosis class, which is interesting because obviously all has nothing to do with hypnosis. But I do hypnosis. That's a side thing. So I actually, something else just random and interesting, as long as I have you all here, I put an account on Psychology Today, which is another just interesting thing because usually therapists in private practice will advertise on Psychology Today, and I had mixed feelings about doing it because truly I'm not a therapist in private practice. I still have a job as a therapist, as a psychologist at Advocate, but my life coaching stuff and my hypnosis and my access consciousness stuff all is sort of under that realm. So I went ahead and put that up there last night, and I'm curious what that choice will create. I don't know, but I think that's something that after having done this hypnosis, I was always willing to do hypnosis for anybody that said, hey, I need some hypnosis around this thing. And I've always been like, oh yeah, I totally know what to do with that. But I think now this is the first time I'm advertising, like, yes, I really am a hypnotherapist and I have long been certified in it. I don't know. I think I was afraid to choose it as like a true, like, this is something I do. So I tell you that partially for if you're watching this and you're like, yes, I need that. But also tell your friends. Don't keep me a secret. I have all sorts of interesting things I've been doing. But if this is a video that was helpful to you, I guess it's not a video yet. We're still live, but it will be a video. But if it's been helpful to you, then if there's anybody in your life that you think would be helped by this, somebody who gets stuck in the why, somebody who gets stuck in the trying to figure it all out, I would so appreciate it if you would share it with that person. And of course, as always, if you are interested in any life coaching things, if you need help around confidence, anxiety, getting stuck, you can always go to journeytopresent.com/call and set up a free call with me. And I think that is all this evening. I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful week. And maybe I'll hop back on here at some point in the next week. But otherwise, I will be, next Tuesday, I'm going to be out of town. I always realize that as I'm like, oh, I'll be here Tuesday. And then no, I don't know if I'll be here Tuesday. That we're going to play by ear. I would love to still be able to jump on. We're going to be outside the Michigan Warren Dunes in a little cabin in the woods with the kids, fishing and things. So it would be really cool if I could at least jump on or sometime during that time. I don't know if it'll be exactly at this normal time, especially because I'm going to be on Eastern time. I have to think this through. But sometime on Tuesday, I would like to at least make a point of getting on here. So keep your eyes out for that. Have a wonderful week, you guys. I will talk to you soon. Bye.